I'm back. What is up, friends and family? It seems like it's been so long since I've been here in my office recording, and for you guys who have been watching my videos every Sunday, you're like, Carly, you left? Where did you go? Well, yeah, it doesn't seem like I left for you, but for me, I did go. I was on vacation for 5 weeks and it was amazing. But now I'm back, which I'm excited to be back into, like, you know, YouTube, and also there's certain things here and there that I missed, but it's just like kind of sad, like being back from vacation, you know? But I am back and I'm here and I'm rejuvenated. I'm no longer jet lagged and I'm ready to teach you guys some things. So in the spirit of vacationing and traveling and all that good jazz, I have a video for you guys today. The top 3 vocabulary words that I think you should know when traveling abroad. That's kind of a long title, so I may need to like reword it for the title or for the clickbait, but just the top 3 vocabulary words that, in my opinion, you must know when you are traveling, especially when you're traveling abroad outside of the country. First vocabulary word that we're going to go over today is accommodation. Accommodation. And this just means a place to stay, such as a hotel, hostel, or rental. So like Airbnb, Vrbo, a hotel, you know, a hostel. Places that you stay when you're traveling. It's called an accommodation. So an example sentence of this is, I made sure to book our accommodations prior to our flight. I made sure to book our accommodations prior to our flight. Again, accommodations is like a long word for saying the place you're going to stay at. Where are you staying? When you travel Japan, when you travel Vietnam, which is the 2 places I just came back from, I had to book my accommodations. I had to book my Airbnbs, my hotels, stuff like that. Now, I say this is important because you will be asked when you go through customs and immigration, you will be asked on this little sheet of paper that you have to fill out, what's the address of your accommodation? And if you don't know what the word accommodation means, you might be like, and then you try to use the translator, and then guess what? A lot of airports, when you're in customs and immigration, you're not allowed to use your cell phone, or the Wi-Fi isn't there. You can't access it because there's no internet, because high security. So you need to know what this word means before going through customs. This leads us into the next vocabulary word for today. Customs. What is customs? So if you think about it, customs has multiple different meanings and multiple different definitions. In this sense, when you are traveling and you say, hey, I need to get to the airport early because I have to go through customs. Customs means the area at an airport where travelers show their luggage for inspection when entering a new country. The area at an airport where travelers show their luggage for inspection when entering a new country. An example sentence for customs is, we have to go through customs after landing in Tokyo. Again, that is, we have to go through customs after landing in Tokyo. And most airports, especially the airports that I've traveled to, immigration and customs are like kind of a thing together now. You go through immigration, you show your passport, you show the little slip that tells you why you're visiting the country. You have the address of the accommodation you're staying at on there. And then immediately you go through customs. They inspect your luggage and you make sure, and they make sure that you're not bringing anything in the country that you ought not to be bringing in. All right. So nothing illegal, nothing, even things that aren't really necessarily illegal, but just things that they don't allow. Sometimes it's dairy products, sometimes it's meat, sometimes it's plants, sometimes it's all of the above. And then of course, like no drugs or certain types of alcohol and things like that. Some countries do not allow. You have to take it through customs. And if you do have it, you have to have like special permissions to bring it in. And it's a whole big thing. That's what you do. You go through customs, which again is just that little area of the airport. Usually it's right beside immigration, or some airports it's like together, where travelers show your luggage, what you're traveling with, and people inspect it to make sure that you're not bringing anything bad into the new country. I had to do that multiple times because I traveled from America to Canada, Canada to Japan, Japan to Vietnam, Vietnam, all throughout Vietnam, traveling to different cities, and then Vietnam back to Japan, and then Japan back to Canada, and Canada back to Florida, or back to Georgia. I had to go through customs quite a bit the past few weeks, and it's not so bad, but also it's not fun. It's not fun, especially when you're traveling with kids. I survived, but you know, I'm kind of good. I'm kind of good for the next couple months. And you notice I said couple months because I love traveling so much, but I'm good for not traveling on an airplane for a couple months. We just did a lot of traveling lately. So I'm good. And plus, going through customs and declaring your luggage and what you bought and, you know, going through immigration and, you know, filling all those paperwork out, it's annoying. So we have accommodation, we have customs, and the last but not least, we have departure. And I know this video is going to be a little bit shorter, but again, it's just about vocabulary words. It's not like idioms or expressions or anything like that. And I'm in the spirit of sharing my knowledge with you of what I learned while I was traveling, that I was like, these words might be something that ESL learners aren't aware of and they need to know if they plan on traveling. So I took little notes here and there when I was traveling of what I could do for you. This is just the first thing that was on my notes. First video I'm recording post vacation. So the last but not least, the word is departure. Departure, and this just means the act of leaving, especially when referring to flights, buses, or trains. The act of leaving, especially when referring to flights, buses, or trains. So an example sentence for the word departure is, our departure time is 10 a.m., so we need to get to the airport early. Again, that is, our departure time is 10 a.m., so we need to get to the airport early. Almost every time you travel anywhere, if you're going by an airplane, train, bus, even boat, you have a departure time, and it will say departure time. It's not going to say the time you leave. It's going to say departure time. And that just means the time that the flight leaves, the time that the train leaves, the time that the bus leaves. Now, one thing I do love about Japan is that the departure time is always right on time. If it says it's going to be there at 1:54, it's going to be there at 1:54. Like, it's not going to be there at 1:53 or 1:55, 1:54. Like, boom, right on time. The departure time is always perfect every time I visit Japan. Now, I will say, if you come to New York, expect the departure time to be at least 30 minutes late every time because I lived in New York a few years back and I would have to leave to go to work about an hour early, even though my work was 20 minutes away, because the train or the subway was always late. The departure time would say one thing and then we're waiting and then it says delayed. And then it'd be a new departure time and then waiting and then it's delayed. So departure, again, just means the act of leaving, especially when referring to flights, buses, or trains. So when you're traveling abroad, you will see this word departure a lot. Basically, that means you and your happy little self better be on the plane, on the train, on the bus, on the boat before the time. After it says departure time, you need to be on that before that, because if not, sorry, bro, you're gonna miss your flight or your bus or your train or your boat. You're not gonna make it in time. So departure. Again, we have accommodation, a place to stay, such as a hotel, hostel, or rental. We have customs, which is the area at an airport where travelers show their luggage for inspection when entering a new country. And then we have departure, which is the act of leaving, especially when referring to flights, buses, or trains. All right, you guys, I know this video was a little bit shorter than usual, but again, it was just the first thing that I wrote down in my notes while traveling of vocabulary words that I think you guys need to know, because I looked at those words and I was like, these words are kind of rather large and not necessarily used in everyday spoken vocabulary. It's more so when you're traveling. Let me go ahead and write this down to teach you all here on YouTube. And I did, and this is the product of our video for today. All right, so I hope you guys have a better understanding of these 3 necessary vocabulary words you must know when traveling. If you do, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next video.